1 to 10 Cup. What is this about? How does it work? What do these teams got to do with Super Rugby? I'll give a very quick intro. We'll look at the odds of who are the favourites to win and go through some of the players you are like to see in the Mitre 10 Cup. So if you're not aware, Mitre 10 Cup is kind of the third level competition here in New Zealand. All Blacks will be number 1, Super Rugby number 2, and then Mitre 10 Cup is the level below that. So these teams make up collectively the Super Rugby teams above them. So for example, the Blues, where I'm from, represent Auckland, North Harbour and Northland. So those three teams represented by the Blues. Traditionally, it used to be that these clubs kind of fed into the Super Rugby clubs, but nowadays the players get picked for Super Rugby teams from all over the shop. So not such a thing anymore. But yeah, there's still definitely some traditional local rivalries and inter-island rivalries as well. And yeah, there's two divisions. Premiership is like top division. Championship is essentially like the second division. But they still do play games between divisions. You play all your teams in your own division, and you play a handful of games from teams from the other division. So sometimes there'll be a few hidings, and sometimes there'll be a few upsets. So that's kind of a good thing. If you haven't watched Mitre 10 Cup before, they're usually pretty open and expensive games, usually pretty good running rugby on display, and generally just a whole bunch of fun. So yeah, I'll go through the two divisions, talk about who the favourites, and as I mentioned, some of the players you are likely to see. We'll start with the championship. Southland are a much maligned team at times. They still get good crowds for a team which doesn't have a very good record. They usually finish last. They are kind of struggling to get the old Super Rugby players and All Blacks into their squad. They got no All Blacks in the squad. Selby Rickett was in the North versus South squad. Tony Lambourne's an American international, been playing for the Blues. Greg Pleasance-Tate is a former Highlander. But there's not a whole lot of big names in the squad. And to be honest, they finished 7th last year. They are predicted to finish 7th in the championship. Their nickname is the Stags, the Southland Stags. Not every team has a nickname like that. But if you're looking for a team which gets good crowds, relatively speaking, and is probably the ultimate underdog, the Stags are the team for you. Northland up the other end of the country. So you got the bottom of the South Island, you got top of the North Island is Northland. Nickname would be the Taniwha. Just look that up, Taniwha. If you want to know what a Taniwha is, they've got one All Black in their ranks, which is Jack Goodhue. Probably won't play. We'll have to see how the international games go with COVID. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but they got one All Black on the books. Plus, his brother, Josh Goodhue, plays for the Blues. He's a lock. Tom Robinson has been spoken about as maybe a potential future All Black, but he's been injured, so he didn't make the North and South squads. Rene Range is a former All Black. He's playing for them. Sam Knock, Bluesman, he's playing for them. That being said, they are likewise predicted to finish in the same spot they did last year, which was 6th. These magnets, by the way, are in the order of the spots they finished last year for the most part. Taranaki. I don't think they have a nickname. Do they? The Bulls, maybe? They've got a bull as their logo. But yeah, Taranaki have a pretty stacked lineup. Like, listen to this. Like, not one of the Super Rugby teams has more than one Barrett. They've got all 3 Barretts. Bowden, Jordan, Geordie? Does anyone call him Jordan? Is his name even Jordan? I never thought about that. Geordie, Bodie, and Scott Barrett are all on the books for Taranaki. Obviously, Geordie and Bodie have been picked for the All Blacks, and Scott Barrett's been injured, but they got all the Barretts. They got Tupo Va'ai is on their books as well. He's another new All Black. Other guys who didn't get selected for the All Blacks: Lachlan Boshia, Mitch Brown, Stephen Perafeta, Sean Wainui, Ruben O'Neill. So there's a bunch of top talent on Taranaki's books. They're a bit of an underperforming team. Interestingly, I guess partly due to all those big names, they are predicted to finish 2nd, whereas they finished in the lower half last year. Manawatu's side, also a North Island side. The only All Black on the books, I believe, is Aaron Smith. They've got other guys, though. They've got Nane Lamape. Whether he gets to play some Mitre 10 Cup or not remains to be seen, but probably, as he gets some match fitness. Samoan international Michael Alatoa. Jamie Booth, Niki Milner-Skudder, former All Black as well. But despite that, predicted to finish 5th. That's an ugly looking 5. Otago are the only other squad with no All Blacks on the books as far as I looked anyway. Another side from the bottom of the South Island. Liam Coltman, former All Black. Josh Ioane is an All Black. Josh Dixon, Jonah Nadeki, Michael Collins. They've certainly got a bit of talent. They are predicted to finish 3rd. Oh, I should have mentioned Manawatu, the Turbos. Nice, if you like your cars, maybe that's a good team to follow. I don't think Otago have a nickname. Hawke's Bay Magpies. Hate magpies. They're a prick of a bird. But yeah, magpies are all blacked up with Brad Weber. He's their guy. I think he's the only one. Otherwise, they got Ash Dixon, Mikaeli Tu'u from the Highlanders, who had a storming season this year. Jonah Lowe, Azoka Isaiah, Walker Leawere. These guys are predicted to finish number 1. They've got a pretty strong looking squad. If they get a game against Bay of Plenty, that'll be the big game for them for the year. That's their kind of biggest rival as far as I'm aware. The Battle of the Bays, Hawke's Bay and Bay of Plenty. And the last one is Counties Manukau. So these guys used to be in the Premiership last season. They were relegated because they came to the bottom. This is kind of the south of Auckland. So you've got Dalton Papali'i as your All Black. Kieran Reid's going to play for them, so he's probably their biggest name on the books. Ezekiel Lindenmuth, Nana Saturo, Chris Kurandrani. They've got a few other names. They are not predicted to get out of the championship this year. They are predicted, at least by the odds, to come third. So that's the championship. Pick a team to follow. If I had to pick one of those teams, it'd probably be Counties, because that's the closest one to me here in Auckland. The Premiership... Bay of Plenty are the team that got promoted at the end of last season from the championship. They got Sam Kane on the books. I think he's the only All Black. But you've got other guys, Nathan Harris, Otere Black, Chase Tiatia, Tahuri Orangi. So they've still got a bunch of talent. That being said, they are predicted to come 7th. They are predicted to get relegated from the Premiership in their first attempt to stay up. You never know, man. Mitre 10 Cup's always pretty crazy. I can't imagine it'll go the way these bookies odds are going. Waikato, they have Antonina Brown and Damian McKenzie on the books. They finished 6th last year, but they've signed the likes of Liam Messam back from Europe, so he's a bit of a Waikato stalwart. Luke and Mitch Jacobson, Quintu Paia, who's kind of an up-and-coming young player, still not the finished product. These guys are predicted to do one better than last year and finish 5th. North Harbour, which is across the bridge from where I live on the north side of the city, they got Carl Tui Nukuafe on the books. He's their All Black. They got Dylan Hunt, who was in the North-South squad. Bryn Gatland, who's got a pretty famous surname and is a solid rugby player. Sean Stevenson, Murphy Taramai. These guys are finishing, according to the bookies anyway, swapping places with Waikato. And other squads, Auckland finished 4th last year. They got Rico and Akira Iwane. They got Patrick Tupilotu, Ofatu Ngafasi. These are some of their All Blacks. I'm not going to go through every single guy on the list. But yeah, Angus Ta'avao will be playing. He's a former All Black at the moment. He has not been selected for the squad. Blake Gibson, TJ Fa'ane, Jordan Trainer. They've got a bunch of young and experienced guys. So these guys are predicted to finish 3rd. Their battles against Waikato and Canterbury are usually pretty hard-fought ones. Speaking of Canterbury, they finished 3rd last year. They've got Cody Taylor, Sam Whitelock, George Bridge, Richie Moonga, a bunch of All Blacks in their squad. Other guys who didn't make it, Mitch Drummond, Reed Princep, Tom Christie, all Super Rugby top-level players. They got Brett Cameron. These guys are predicted to finish 2nd. Wellington made the final last year and lost to Tasman. Asafa Amua, TJ Perenara, Adi Savia, some of the All Blacks. Julian Savia is back from Europe, so obviously the bus back in action. Peter Umanga Jensen, Jackson Garden Bishop, so a bunch of Super Rugby players as well. These guys are predicted to drop to 4th for this year. And Tasman are the favourites. The Mako, I forgot to mention, do any of these teams have nicknames? Steamers don't really have a nickname. No nickname. Lions. Wellington Lions. It's a bit of an interesting mix that some teams have those names. Tasman, the Mako, which is a shark. They got a bunch of All Blacks like Reese, Frizzell, Lomax, but guys who aren't in the All Black squad, David Havili, Mark Talea, Quinton Strange, and kind of unsurprisingly, these guys are predicted to finish top of the log again to win the championship. But yeah, Super Brew is the prediction game. We'll be playing that. There's a link in the description for that one. There's a good article on Stuff, which I will link to. It's 2 different articles, one for the championship, one for the premiership. If you want to see the full squads, they've done a good little piece there. And more in-depth previews on some of the players. But yeah, this is just the Mitre 10 Cup at a glance. Like I said, you're probably not going to watch every game of this competition because they do come pretty thick and fast. Still no crowds at the moment until we can get the COVID thing under control. But yeah, the games are usually pretty crazy and pretty entertaining. So hopefully they will be the same this year for 2020. You guys let me know your thoughts. If you have a team, who are you following? If you don't have a team, who are you picking? I would recommend Auckland. Just between you and me. But up to you. Pick a squad. And yeah, cheers guys. I'll talk to you soon. See you later.